Have you ever sensed someone's dislike without understanding why? They might smile outwardly, yet their eyes tell another story. Perhaps they withdrew. Maybe they judged silently. Their energy might shift when you enter a space. And the confusing part is, you didn't offend them. You caused no harm. You did nothing wrong. Here's a reality many never grasp. People seldom dislike you for who you are. They dislike you for what you represent to them. A reflection, a reminder, a truth they wish to avoid. Stoic philosophy offers a crucial lesson. You cannot control their perception, only your integrity. That is exactly what we'll explore today. The 8 hidden reasons people quietly resent you, the psychology behind it, and most importantly, the Stoic approach to remaining calm, centered, and unaffected. So, pause for a moment. Let's start. 1. Envy, the silent reason. People secretly resent you. Envy is among the quietest and most toxic emotions people hold. It rarely appears as obvious jealousy. It seldom sounds like, "I wish I had your life." More often, it emerges as cold energy, indirect compliments, subtle disrespect, or unexplained distance. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People often envy you not because you possess too much, but because they believe they have too little. Your progress becomes a mirror they never intended to face. Perhaps you're enhancing your health, evolving emotionally, or strengthening your mind. Maybe you've grown calmer, more disciplined, more intentional with your time. To you, it feels like advancement. To them, it feels like a challenge. Stoic thought clarifies this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone does wrong, it is because they are mistaken about what truly matters." Envy is exactly that, an error in values. It's someone believing your success reduces theirs. It's someone persuading themselves that your rise means their fall. Look closely, and you'll notice the pattern. When you're consistent, they call you obsessed. When you're focused, they call you arrogant. When you're disciplined, they call you boring. When you improve, they call you lucky. These labels don't define you. They reveal how they feel about themselves, and the deeper your growth, the deeper their unease. You become living proof of what they could achieve. If they change, if they committed, if they face their own flaws, but that is difficult. So instead of rising alongside you, they resent you from afar. Here's the Stoic view. Envy is never about you. It mirrors someone else's internal struggle. So what should you do? First, stay composed. You don't combat envy with explanations or apologies. Second, remain humble. Growth speaks loudest when it's quiet. Third, never diminish yourself to make another feel larger. Stoicism teaches that virtue, not validation, determines your worth. Finally, keep moving forward. Your improvement is not a crime. Your progress is not an attack. Your success is not a weapon. People may quietly resent you for rising, but they cannot prevent you from rising. Walk ahead with dignity. Let their envy become background noise, and let your actions speak louder than their emotions. 2. Your confidence threatens their insecurity. Confidence is quiet. It doesn't require validation. It doesn't need applause. And that is precisely why it unsettles insecure people. Many move through life pretending to be confident, performing strength instead of cultivating it. So when they encounter someone whose confidence is genuine, calm, and steady, it destabilizes them. Because your confidence highlights their doubts, your clarity highlights their confusion, your stability highlights their inner turmoil. And insecure people do not resent you for who you are. They resent you for what your presence makes them face. You aren't telling anyone you're superior, but your discipline, your self-respect, your ability to decline, your boundaries, your posture, all of it quietly communicates a truth they cannot ignore. You are someone who has done the inner work, and they are someone who has not. This creates a psychological imbalance. Here's how it appears. They call you overly confident to mask their own self-doubt. They accuse you of being intimidating, when really they are intimidated by their own unused potential. They overreact to your calm because they are uneasy with quiet. They misinterpret your boundaries as arrogance because they lack their own. Stoic thinkers understood this deeply. Epictetus wrote, "No person is free who is not master of himself." When you enter a space already grounded, already centered, already in command of your emotions, you possess a freedom insecure people lack. And people often resent the freedom they do not have. Here's the paradox. You don't even need to speak to make insecure people feel threatened. Your presence is enough. Your standards are enough. Your sense of purpose is enough. To an insecure person, your confidence feels like judgment. They believe you're looking down on them. Even though you haven't judged them at all, the reality is they're looking down on themselves and project it onto you. So, how do you handle this? First, stay centered. Never feel guilty for confidence you've earned. Confidence built through discipline and self-respect is not arrogance. It's integrity. Second, don't over-explain. When someone questions your decisions or beliefs, you don't need a lengthy defense. A simple, "This is what I've decided," is enough. People who respect themselves respect clarity. People who don't, fear it. Third, maintain boundaries. Confidence without boundaries is performance. Confidence with boundaries is power. Lastly, don't shrink to make insecure people feel taller. Stoicism teaches that lowering yourself is not kindness. It is self-betrayal. Your confidence is not their problem. Their insecurity is not your burden. You are responsible for your character, not their comfort. Walk with quiet strength. Let them feel what they feel. You do not exist to manage their insecurities. You exist to master your own life. 3. Your standards expose their lack of discipline. Most people don't resent you for who you are. They resent you because your standards quietly reveal the parts of themselves they avoid facing. When you begin raising the bar for your life, waking earlier, keeping your word, staying consistent, choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure, you don't need to announce it. Your discipline speaks for you, and that silent message is often enough to make others uneasy. People know what they should be doing. They know they could be healthier, more focused, more responsible, more dedicated. But the gap between knowing and doing is where resentment forms. Your consistency becomes a mirror they didn't choose to look into. It shows them their own procrastination, their broken routines, the promises they keep delaying. And instead of rising with you, many would rather pull you back to a level where they feel secure. You'll see it in subtle ways. They joke about your effort to protect their ego. They try to persuade you to relax because your commitment underscores their lack of it. They withdraw as you evolve because your growth makes them feel stagnant. Stoicism captures this beautifully. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Be strict with yourself and tolerant with others." Your standards align with your own soul, not a rule book for anyone else. But those living without direction often mistake your self-respect for arrogance. Here's the truth. Your discipline is not a judgment. Your progress is not a threat. Your improvement is not an attack. When someone is bothered by your standards, it's because they haven't yet built their own. So, how should you respond? Stay steady. Your path doesn't require permission. Stay calm. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing a better life. Stay focused. Protect the environments that support your growth. And most importantly, stay loyal to the person you are becoming. Your standards are not too high. They are simply higher than the comfort zones of those unwilling to change. People who want to remain small will resent you for rising. People who aspire to grow will respect you for it. Either way, your responsibility is to continue. 4. Misinterpretation. They create a version of you that doesn't exist. One of the most painful reasons people dislike you has nothing to do with who you are, but with who they imagine you to be. People rarely see others clearly. They see through the fog of their own wounds, insecurities, assumptions, and emotional history. Instead of meeting you as a real person, they interact with a story they've already written in their minds. Maybe you spoke directly and they labeled you cold. Maybe you set boundaries and they called you selfish. Maybe you stayed quiet and they assumed you were judging them. Maybe you protected your peace and they believe you felt superior. Notice how none of these reactions are based on your actual intentions. They are projections shaped by their past, not your character. Stoic philosophy explains this well. People are not disturbed by things, but by their views of things. Epictetus wasn't only referring to events. He meant people, too. Most dislike stems from distorted perception, not reality. Humans tend to fill in gaps. If they can't understand you, they invent a reason to explain the discomfort they feel around you. Your silence becomes arrogance. Your boundaries become hostility. Your independence becomes pride. Your calmness becomes indifference. This misunderstanding intensifies when you don't meet their expectations. If you refuse to gossip, they think you're distant. If you avoid drama, they think you're judging them. If you stay focused, they think you're ignoring them. If you prioritize your goals, they think you've changed. The truth is simpler. You're evolving. They're interpreting. So, how do you deal with being misunderstood? First, accept that you cannot control someone else's interpretation. The Stoics remind us that perception is outside your control, and trying to manage it leads to frustration. Second, stay consistent with your character. Perception may shift, but character endures over time. Third, communicate clearly when necessary. Not convince, but to prevent confusion. There's a difference between speaking to offer clarity and speaking to seek approval. And finally, release the need to be understood by everyone. Not every heart is ready for your honesty. Not every mind is ready for your calm. Not every person can read you accurately. Those who misunderstand you from a distance rarely deserve closeness. Let people's assumptions be their own burden. Let your character be your only statement. And let your actions speak in a language that needs no defense. 5. Your silence makes them uncomfortable. Silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of strength. Most people fill every moment with noise, talking to feel significant, reacting to feel in control, over-explaining to feel understood. So when they meet someone who sits comfortably in silence, it unnerves them. Your silence forces people to confront themselves. It removes the distractions they use to hide their insecurity. It reveals their impulsiveness, their need for validation, their discomfort with their own thoughts. Some people resent you because your silence exposes the noise within them. You're not being rude. You're not being distant. You're simply not performing as they expect. And that breaks the social script they know. Consider how people react when you don't respond immediately. They grow anxious. They overthink. They assign meaning to your quietness. To them, silence is judgment, rejection, or superiority. But to you, silence is clarity. It is control. It is peace. Stoic thinkers understood the power of quiet composure. Marcus Aurelius often wrote that nothing strengthens a person more than learning to command their own reactions. Silence is one of the purest expressions of that self-command. When you don't rush to defend yourself, people feel exposed. When you don't absorb their drama, they feel powerless. When you don't react emotionally, they feel their tactics failing. People who rely on emotional chaos can't stand the stability of someone who refuses to engage. Your silence also reveals intent. It shows you are not desperate to be liked. You are not afraid of empty space. You're not driven by a need to impress or entertain. This creates discomfort, especially in those who expect you to respond, reassure, explain, or react on command. Stoicism teaches that silence is not avoidance. It is mastery. It is a refusal to join unnecessary battles. It is a protection of your inner peace. It is a choice to stay centered when the world tries to pull you into noise. So, how do you handle the discomfort people feel around your silence? Stay grounded and let them feel what they feel. Their reaction belongs to them, not you. Use silence intentionally as a pause, not a punishment. Don't apologize for being quiet, collected, or observant. And never let anyone pressure you into noise just because they fear stillness. Your silence is not emptiness. It is discipline. It is power held rather than spent. It is strength without aggression. Some people will resent you for it. Others will fear it. But the right people will respect it because they recognize the kind of person you had to become to earn that calm. Your silence is not a weakness. It is the sharpest form of control. 6. Projection. They blame you for what lives inside them. One of the most common reasons people dislike you has nothing to do with your behavior and everything to do with their own inner struggles. When someone hasn't faced their insecurities, guilt, flaws, or unhealed emotions, they start projecting those unresolved parts onto others. You become the canvas for their internal chaos. You become a character in the story they've been fighting for years. If they struggle with honesty, they assume you are hiding something. If they lack loyalty, they question your intentions. If they feel inferior, they believe you're looking down on them. If they fear abandonment, they accuse you of pulling away. Even when you haven't moved at all, they aren't reacting to you. They're reacting to a version of you created by their wounds. Stoic philosophy explains this with striking clarity. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Much of the dislike directed toward you is imaginary, built from fear, insecurity, or emotional baggage that existed long before you entered the picture. Projection occurs because facing the truth about themselves is painful. It is easier to blame someone else than to admit personal responsibility. It is easier to distrust you than to question their patterns. It is easier to accuse you than to confront the habits and insecurities that keep them stuck. You'll notice rejection in the way people twist your words, misread your intentions, or assign motives you never had. You'll see it in their defensiveness, their sudden anger, or their irrational interpretations of neutral actions. You'll feel in the tension they create, a tension born from a war happening entirely inside them. So, how do you respond? The Stoic answer is simple and powerful. You refuse to carry what is not yours. You don't explain yourself endlessly to correct their imagination. You don't over-justify to suit their anxiety. You don't shrink yourself to fit their emotional narrative. Instead, you observe with clarity. You let their reaction belong to them. You understand that projection reveals a person's relationship with themselves, not with you. Stoicism teaches that your peace depends on controlling your own judgments, not trying to manage the judgments others invent about you. You are responsible for your actions, not their interpretations. You are responsible for your character, not their fears. You are responsible for your truth, not their fantasies. Some people will resent you because they can't face themselves. That is their inner storm, not your burden. Stay calm. Stay rooted. Stay aligned with your virtues. Let them battle their shadows while you continue walking in the light of your own clarity. 7. You don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. There's an unspoken rule in many social circles. Make yourself smaller so others don't feel insecure. Be less confident, less ambitious, less direct, less yourself. But when you refuse to shrink, when you stand fully in your identity, your values, your discipline, your purpose, it triggers people who have built their lives around avoidance, approval, or emotional fragility. You become a threat without ever trying to be one. Some people dislike you not because you're loud, arrogant, or overbearing, but because you stop dimming your light to make them feel bright. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your truth challenges their denial. Your strength highlights their complacency. Your boundaries disrupt their expectations. Your confidence reveals their insecurity. Your self-respect questions their lack of it. When you stop performing softness to protect someone's fragile ego, you disrupt the balance they depended on. They were comfortable with a version of you that apologized too much, lowered your standards, or tolerated draining behavior. They preferred you when you were easier to influence or comprehend, when you were predictable, agreeable, and quietly struggling. Stoicism teaches that conforming to others' expectations is a form of self-betrayal. A person who bends too often eventually forgets their true shape. But once you reclaim your shape, once you center your life around virtue instead of approval, people who relied on your old patterns begin to resent your transformation. You'll see it clearly when you stop shrinking. You say no without hesitation, and they take it personally. You raise your standards, and they accuse you of changing. You choose peace over drama, and they call you distant. You grow and they insist you become too much. What they're really saying is you stop being the version that made them comfortable. This resentment is not about your character. It's about their dependency on your former limits. Your evolution breaks the unwritten contract they held in their mind. The contract where you stay small, so they never have to face themselves. But here's what the Stoics knew. You do not exist to soothe the insecurities of others. You do not exist to remain small so others can feel tall. You do not exist to limit your potential so others can avoid confronting their lack of effort. Every time you rise, you force others to choose, grow with you or fall away. Those who want to rise will be inspired. Those who prefer comfort will resent you. And their resentment is simply a sign that you are expanding beyond the boundaries that once contained you. So, how should you handle those who dislike you for becoming your true self? Stay loyal to your growth. Stay loyal to your discipline. Stay loyal to your peace. Stay loyal to the future you're building. You're not obligated to shrink for anyone, not for friends, family, partners, co-workers, or society. The moment you stop shrinking is the moment you begin truly living. Let them dislike the strongest version of you. It's better than being loved for a version that wasn't real. Those who can't handle your fullness were never meant to stand beside it. 8. Your growth reminds them that they stayed the same. There is a subtle but powerful truth about human nature. People cheer for your growth only until your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. Initially, they may support you. They may call you inspiring, hardworking, admirable. But as you move further, rise higher, and evolve faster, something shifts. Your progress becomes a silent reminder of everything they could have done but didn't. Everything they once dreamed of but abandoned. Every step forward they avoided because comfort felt safer than becoming who they were meant to be. And suddenly admiration turns into tension. Encouragement turns into distance. Pride turns into irritation. Respect turns into quiet resentment. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your evolution exposes a truth they've been hiding from themselves. Growth has a way of pulling people apart, not from conflict, but from contrast. You wake with purpose. They wake with regret. You take accountability. They stay trapped in excuses. You change your habits. They repeat their patterns. You invest in your future. They cling to their comfort zone. Your life moves forward and they stay frozen. That gap, that widening distance, becomes the breeding ground for resentment. Stoic philosophy explains this with remarkable clarity. Epictetus observed that people struggle not with your success, but with what your success demands from their conscience. Your growth becomes a mirror they can no longer avoid. It reflects their procrastination, their abandoned goals, their lack of discipline. This resentment is rarely expressed directly. It appears in subtle ways. They downplay your progress to feel better about their own. They act less enthusiastic when you share good news. They make excuses instead of taking responsibility. They distance themselves because your presence feels like pressure. They criticize your changes because your transformation shines a light on their stagnation. The truth is simple. You didn't outgrow them. They stopped growing with you. That difference alone can make some people quietly resent you, especially when your transformation disrupts the identity they formed around you. The old version that was safe, predictable, familiar, and unintimidating. But you're no longer that version. You've shed layers. You've broken cycles. You've reclaimed your mind. You've elevated your standards. You've stepped into a higher version of yourself. To someone who has remained the same, this is threatening. It forces them to confront the uncomfortable reality that change is possible, but only for those who choose it, and choice demands courage. So, how do you navigate the resentment that comes from your growth? You do exactly what Stoicism teaches. You protect your path. You stay focused on your internal progress. You remain detached from external reactions. You accept that not everyone is meant to walk your journey with you. You let people fade gracefully instead of shrinking yourself to make them stay. If your growth makes people uncomfortable, that is proof you are moving. If your evolution creates distance, that is proof you are rising. If your improvement triggers resentment, that is proof you are no longer living at their level. The people meant for your life will not resent your evolution. They will evolve with you. And the ones who don't, let them remain where they choose to be. Your job is not to slow down. Your job is to continue becoming the strongest, wisest, most grounded version of yourself. Your growth is your responsibility. Their stagnation is not. If there is one lesson the Stoics will want you to take from all of this, it's this. People rarely hate you because of who you truly are. They hate you because of what your presence reveals inside them. Their envy, insecurity, stagnation, unhealed wounds, distorted perceptions, or unmet potential. Your growth exposes their excuses. Your silence exposes their inner noise. Your confidence exposes their doubt. Your standards expose their lack of discipline. Your evolution exposes their fear of change. None of these reactions belongs to you. They belong to the emotional world they refuse to confront. Stoicism teaches you to release the burden of controlling how others see you. You cannot manage their imagination. You cannot rewrite their past. You cannot heal their insecurity. You cannot shrink yourself to fit their comfort.